Good evening and welcome to the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners July 17th board meeting. We've already had the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Our executive session ran a little later than we were hoping, but we're back. So can I get a motion to come back out of executive session?
So be it.
Mr. Laurie, and a second?
Second.
Mr. Rabin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to have an abbreviated meeting, hopefully, because we've had a 2-hour executive session. Jamie Henstrom isn't with us tonight, our treasurer, but she provided us her treasurer's report, which is available for everyone to want to see it. It was distributed to the board. She also provided all her bills to be paid for the month. I don't have any real comments tonight, so we'll move right down the line. Brian Tween, Chief Tween, your report?
Thank you, Commissioner. The June activity report, we had 282 alarms. 10 of them were fire-related, 144 EMS-related, and we gave mutual aid 4 times. A few of those were automatic aids on the parkways, where we respond with other departments such as Mount Vernon and New Rochelle. We did not receive any mutual aid in the month of June. On June 7th, I had a staff meeting with the captains addressing the use of fire ground frequencies during fire calls. We've had issues in the past where when the captains declare a 1075, the county will dispatch the additional engines to the fire and also evac. So at the most important time of the fire, they're stepping on requests to charge hose lines, and we need to perform a rescue, so we need to move off the UHF frequency, which I'll call the command channel, and to move on to the fire ground channels for tactical. So I'm going to come out with an SOP hopefully by next month, and we'll do training with the guys, and we will implement that. So we won't. That's been an issue for several years, and I think we'll be able to clear that up going to the fire ground frequencies at fires. And it won't just be at fires, it'll be every fire-related call. So even if it's an automatic alarm, the guys on scene will be on the fire ground frequency, and only the incident commander will be talking to the county on the command channel. So that'll be the difference. It'll be tying up that command channel. So when they're dispatching additional engines and ambulances, we won't be stepping on each other. The week of June 26th, myself and the captains attended a NIFRS, National Fire Incident Reporting System training that was given by New York State OFPC. It was held in Mount Vernon. Thank you to them for hosting it. And after that training, I was able to figure out what our reporting requirements are to New York State, and I sent our 2006 incident reports to the state, and I also did the first half of 2017. Up till June 30th, reports have also been submitted to OFPC on July 11th. Vehicle and firehouse maintenance continues through the use of outside vendors. Ladder 16 scheduled service and aerial certification had been completed. We were waiting for the certification sticker, which has been provided and installed on Ladder 16. So all our trucks are currently current in their certification. We had pump tests on Monday. All the pumps passed. And all the stickers have been placed on the engines, so all the vehicles have their certifications for this year. Also, the New York State vehicle inspections have been done, so those are all current. There is one vehicle, the generator pickup truck, which is rarely used. That one needs a state inspection, but there's some carburetor issues. It's not running smoothly, so we have to have some repairs done to that before we put it through its state inspection. As far as the firehouse maintenance, I did send an email to the commissioners regarding Station 3 and Station 5. Station 5 has a roof issue. We think hopefully it's been solved with the gutters, the drains being cleared. Hopefully there won't be standing water on the roof, and that should hopefully alleviate the issue. If it does continue on heavy rains, if it does continue to allow water to get inside, we may have to address that issue. Station 3 has some issue with trees, and the gutters also at Station 3 leaking, so we may need to address that. There are some trees that I'm working with the Bronxville DPW. Some of them, I believe, are village trees, and some of them are on fire department property, so maybe if the village will take care of the village trees, and we'll get somebody to take care of the fire department trees. Fire prevention and code enforcement activities continue with numerous plan reviews by Captain Pinaval and firefighter Vitarello. As far as the pest violations, we have one last pest violation that I'm working on. It was the mission statement, and also PESH is looking for the bloodborne pathogen program. Chief Grogan had supplied the infection control policy, but it was dated from July 1992, so I think they're looking for a more updated policy. So I'm received a proposal from the company that provides our bloodborne pathogen waste disposal. They have online training and online policies that I think would be good for us. It would fit perfectly into these PESH requirements. Normally, I think we pay them between $500 and $1,000 a year, depending on how many times they have to come to do our pickup. So for a monthly charge of $135, they would provide us with those monthly pickups. Well, it's not monthly. Right now, it's about every 6 months we get pickups of our bloodborne pathogen waste. But it would also provide us online access to these bloodborne pathogen policies, infection control policies, and also online training that we can have the firefighters do, or even the EMS trainers use this online information to train the guys, and it's required training by PESH. And it also provides the material data sheets that we're supposed to have in each firehouse. We can have them electronically on this company's website. So I would ask the commissioner's permission to enter into this contract for $135 a month, which is a 20% reduction from what they initially were going to charge us. I'd asked them for a decrease, and they provided a 20% decrease. But since it's a contract, I would want the commissioner's permission before I were to sign anything. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions on that. Two more things. I met with Dr. Flores. I had mentioned this last month. He's still investigating our implementation of a Narcan program for opioid overdoses, and also an epinephrine or EpiPen program. He's going through REMSCO, the Regional EMS Council, to see what paperwork will be required when we go on those calls, and also the training to implement those programs. And in closing, the final thing is the sad news of the passing on June 28th of former volunteer Deputy Chief Richard Pinaval, brother of our Captain Thomas Pinaval and Lieutenant Bob Pinaval. Richie joined the department on November 13th, 1986. He was appointed First Assistant Deputy Chief in 1994 and was appointed a Deputy Chief in 1998, a position that he held for 3 years. Just want to express our condolences to his wife, Kathy, and his family.
Okay, thank you, Chief. As far as you signing up the, I don't see any, I'm sure you can read through the contract and execute it.
Yeah.
You think we need it?
I think it would be a great thing for us to have, just to comply with the PESH requirements each year.
If you think we need it and you're comfortable with it, I'll rely on your expertise.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's $135 a month. It's not, thousands and thousands of dollars. I think it's a reasonable.
Where are is there one central depository for the pickup? Is it
Yeah, there's a red box in the basement of headquarters.
Station? I saw the red box in the basement.
That's where the guys, if they go on a call and they get the gloves or gowns or something, and they get blood or any kind of fluids on them, they put them into a red bag on the scene. They tie the red bag into a knot, and then those red bags go into there, and it gets picked up approximately every 6 months.
Okay, so not all fire trucks leave from Station 1, right? Not all apparatus
Yes,
responds
yeah.
from Station 1.
Yeah. That's what
So-
happens.
What happens when they go from other houses?
Well, the captain's usually on each call, so the captain's driver will, or the captain's aide will usually collect it in a red bag, and then it'll come back to headquarters that way. All the fire trucks should have in their EMS bags red bags, so if somebody was not on a call, sometimes evac will take it, and I guess they dispose of it,
6 months just seems like a long.
It's mostly just gloves. Most of the calls, the guys are using gloves. If it was a especially messy call, they have gowns in their bags, but they'll, put on their bunker pants if they're wearing shorts. So it's mostly just gloves. So it's just plastic bags filled with gloves, so they compact down pretty tightly. So.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. All righty, thank you for the report, Chief. All right, let's go, committee reports here, but we're going to skip and go right to I think there's agendas up front here, I believe. Chester Heights, you want to talk about that project, Peter?
Sure. We had a kickoff meeting this afternoon at 3 o'clock with the roofing contractor who's going to be doing the work, Salvatore Roofing. Nick Granito, one of the principals, was there, along with his foreman. Chief Tween was there, I was there, and our architects were there. The meeting went well, just went over some of the last-minute issues, how we were going to handle staging the site, among other things. These guys are expected to show up on Monday, the 24th, to start work. So we're finally going to get moving on the project.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk about committee reports besides?
I do.
Thank you.
I got a few things. First of all, I want to thank Captain Dempsey and his men for putting up the buntings for Deputy Chief Pintaval, and I hope we could close the meeting in his honor, and also for the final salute that the department gave him when the funeral passed. The VFW had donated POW flags for all the firehouses, and the one out in North End got all tarnished and faded, and I brought another one up there Saturday. But I can't keep asking the VFW to donate these flags, so I'd like to make a motion that the board approve of buying 5 VFW POW flags, and the veterans will order them, and they're not expensive at all, and then the board could pay the VFW for the flags. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to buy 5 POW flags and hang them at each firehouse.
I don't think we need a motion to do that. I think the chief can use his discretion to buy flags if
Okay.
he needs them.
If you want to buy them, or if you want me to order them through the VFW, because we ordered them in a matter of 4 or 5 days, we have them.
Yeah, we can figure out what the cheapest way to get them, and
Okay?
the chief can do that.
Okay, and next thing, I'd like to make a motion that we purchase a refrigerator for the Chester Heights Firehouse for the volunteers, because theirs is gone since last October, and right now they're keeping their soda and water in an ice tub, and every time they have a meeting, they have to put it on ice, dump it out, and so I make that in the form of a motion that we purchase them a refrigerator. I'm not asking for a $1,000 refrigerator, just a refrigerator that keeps some soda and some water cold.
Well, I think right now the firehouse is going to go through construction, so.
I understand that, but the room is,
Probably won't put
the room is not gonna go through construction, the roof is. We're just asking for
We're
a
actually
simple
keeping the
refrigerator.
men in the house while the work is going on, so.
But the men don't use the volunteer quarters on the.
No, we're talking the volunteers, I'm not talking about the paid personnel. We're only asking for a refrigerator to keep our soda and water cold. That's all I'm asking for. So I put that in the form of motion. If someone wants to second that, they could.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll poll the board. Mr.
Sure.
Aye. How much money are we gonna spend on this? I'm just telling you, I'm not asking for an expensive I one. wanna,
If you want to put a definitive.
all right, put a price tag of $400, is that okay?
That's fair.
Okay, make the motion with a $400 refrigerator to be purchased.
Yeah, my own discussion on this is, right now, the volunteers supposedly have no value to the fire department according to their court filings, and until that's resolved, I don't see us buying anything for the volunteers at this moment.
So you
They
could-
get $100,000 a year from New York State that they keep. So
So poll the board.
they could buy a refrigerator out of their 2% money, and they could use that 2% money for the benefit of the memberships, and so we wouldn't be buying it out of their $100,000 New York State is giving them. If anybody read the article from the Journal News this week.
Before you get on that, Dennis, we got a motion on the floor. Let's vote on
I'm
that.
discussing the motion that's on the floor.
Okay.
The article in the Journal News this week explained how the 2% money is ripe with problems, and that was from the Yonkers Fire Department. We have extremely similar problems here. I don't see why we would, the department, who gets no benefit whatsoever according to the volunteers from their court filings, would spend any money for a refrigerator for the volunteers. That's me personally.
It's my understanding that we purchased a refrigerator that's there for the volunteers. Those court proceedings have not been fully adjudicated at this time, and until they are, I'm fine with spending $500 on the refrigerator.
It was their own statement that they said they provide no governmental value to the department. That's what they said. So I'll finish the road call,
Okay.
okay?
We voted,
Okay,
This would be owned by who, this refrigerator?
The refrigerator would be owned by the fire department.
If it's by the board, or by the fire department, not the
Right.
volunteers, I'll vote yes. If it's owned by the volunteers, I'm voting no.
Okay. I voted yes to
it's the
purchase it.
department. Okay, so it's 4-1, motion carries, okay?
Okay. The next thing, we also attended the Memorial, the Mamaroneck Day Parade at the end of June, and I want to thank the board for loaning us the maintenance truck. We had a tribute with a sign on there in memory of past volunteer fireman and maintenance man Vincent Spadaro, and when we passed the reviewing stand, we got a standing ovation and a lot of clapping for Vinnie. So
That was nice to
I
do.
appreciate that much. And I think when you give public comments, you'll get a surprise on that part too. So I'm finished on my report.
Okay. I had a laundry list of things that we need to get done that I sent out, about 30 items. How many items here? 30 items. And I think we're not going to go through tonight because it's late. One of the things the chief was asking for was to put a air conditioning unit, well, like a Mitsubishi unit or an one of those wall-mounted units in Station 3, put one in the bunk room and put one in the kitchen. Station 4, excuse me, Station 4, Chester Heights. Put one in the dorm room and put one in the kitchen, and then upgrade the oil burner, which is like, 1,000 years old or something. And so to put a small oil burner down there, a gas-fired burner down there for now, just to make it through the winter. That way we wouldn't be using, how many gallons we burn in the winter now?
On the cold days, about 100 gallons a day.
Yes, we're burning 100 gallons of fuel a day. We could upgrade the oil burner, it shouldn't cost that much money to put a gas burner in there, just to keep the heat in the building on the second floor so the pipes don't freeze. And if we had a Mitsubishi unit in the dorm room and a Mitsubishi unit in the kitchen, they could control the heat a lot better without burning 100 gallons a day. So the chief was wanted to go out and solicit proposals to get that done.
I just, we spent a lot of money having an architect come in and do a facilities condition report on that building and make recommendations for an overhaul of exactly how we should handle that. And I don't have a problem doing part of the work, but I certainly would want to do a thorough analysis of whether or not it would be far cheaper to do that work at the same time as we do the floor, which has to be done. It's just, to me, to put in a new heating system with multiple zones and tackle, a project of putting, through wall or through window air conditioning units in, when we're talking about replacing the windows, repairing the facade. At this point, one of the things that's going to come up as soon as this roof is finished is whether or not we want to move forward with the balance of the exterior work and start moving on the interior work. And I just, I would be very careful before we make a decision to spend what will be a lot of money on what you're proposing without going back and reviewing what the architect, the engineer had recommended for the building and how it fits with the master plan. That's why we paid to have that plan done.
Yeah, but I think what the chief is talking about, and chief can speak up here, I think in our master plan, we were thinking about putting Mitsubishi units in the dorm and in the kitchen, and therefore, those units, I don't know what they cost. What do they cost, $5,000 a unit or something like that?
We'd have to look into it. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
so
what they
I don't
do.
think they're that expensive, and you just put them in, they're not that big of a deal. We're burning 100 gallons a day, $300 a day in fuel in the wintertime is pretty excessive, and it's environmentally horrible. So, yeah, and
Fuel costs are substantially lower than they've been, and I want to do a cost benefit and just find out if the incremental cost to do that work in stages is substantially higher than doing it all at once, and it far outweighs the the benefit of the oil that we're gonna burn while we wait, I'm not inclined to do it. I just don't think it's a snap decision.
But this is not like a major deal. Like, right now, we're talking about,
You just said a new boiler
yeah, but you can,
with multiple zones. We're gonna put a boiler in that house without putting two zones in? The whole point of, one of the main points of replacing the boiler was that we didn't have to heat the upstairs when we heat the downstairs. So, I mean, to me, it sounds like there's gonna be ductwork going on. It's far more.
maybe putting a boiler in, you may be putting a boiler in before the winter. Last year, that boiler, Chief Grogan's sitting over there, but
Well, if
That
that
thing
happens,
died.
then it's an emergency repair, and we'll deal with the emergency repair at that time. Listen, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, let's think about this. I forget exactly what FSI spec'd out for that boiler, but I believe it was over $100,000 to turn that thing into multiple zones. And that is what you just proposed, right? You didn't say replace the
I'm saying-
boiler into Mitsubishi units? Is that what you said?
no, I'm saying is putting a Mitsubishi unit, or an LP unit, LG, are they LG or LP, in the dorm, which you're gonna end up doing anyway. You're gonna put one in the kitchen, you're gonna end up doing it anyway, because you're only gonna try to chill or heat the kitchen, which is a very small room, and the dorm's a relatively small room, and it's isolated. So then you need to put some heat on the apparatus floor and get the pipes just so they're not gonna freeze. So my guess is the chief had this idea, let's let him get some cost estimates, come back to us and say, okay, what is it gonna cost? And then we make a decision.
Is the
You
boiler
know,
working right now?
It
Well,
did.
obviously, probably not on, but.
It did shut down and several times last year in the wintertime, and we're calling for emergency service at, 8 o'clock at night, and, there's a charge for, those immediately call-outs, and it always happens when it's 15 degrees outside. It doesn't do it when it's 40 degrees out, so, it's something that you have to address right away, because, you can't keep people in the firehouse, and you gotta worry about pipes freezing. So my thought was that the firefighters spend the majority of their time in those two rooms, say the bathroom, the kitchen, and the dormitory. Why are you heating the whole second floor? Similar to what you're saying, you'll be able to reduce the amount that the boiler is used, because they can keep those rooms comfortable with the Mitsubishi or LG units. I'm not just picking one brand. We'll just say a smaller unit. The condenser's outside. They have the exact same thing in fire prevention and the lieutenant's office up in North End. So, the air conditioner down in Chester Heights, it would replace the window unit, which I doubt they're gonna put in ductwork to get it, from somewhere to the dorm and, the kitchen area. So they're probably gonna wind up suggesting that you put in these type of units anyway, and they'll do heating and cooling. So,
well, we have that, what they were suggesting, and they'd be able to tell us. I don't recall exactly what it is offhand. But just so I'm clear, because I thought that I heard the chairman say, replace the boiler. Did not?
Yeah, we need to think about replacing the boiler too.
Okay.
And then hopefully
So
we go with
yeah,
gas.
you're talking about, I agree that it may make sense, but I also think that there's a strong possibility that it may make more sense to wait and integrate this all into part of that law. That work's gotta be done. Right now, we've got these steel plates on the floor. The terrazzo floor is pulverized underneath. We've spent the money to do this study. We kind of accepted the findings of the study. We've reviewed them, we've discussed them in this meeting. I think we want to, let that, analyze whether or not it makes sense to do just part of this work now ahead of, and is it the highest priority that we've got? Because you're talking about a project we're going to be spending potentially all in up to a couple of $100,000, maybe a little bit more, which means that we're going to have to go out for competitive bid. We're going to have, it's going to be.
No, I don't think putting two Mitsubishi units in, if we leave it at that, we don't even have to go, we can just do that with 3 quotes. Because the two Mitsubishi units are probably gonna come in under 20 grand, is my guess. I don't think, or 2 of the air conditioning units, I don't think they're gonna come
I
in
thought
on that.
$10,000 was the most we could spend without.
I think it's 20.
Now it's 20.
So, but we can check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 20. What do you think it is on 3 quotes?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I wouldn't want to say
So,
the wrong number.
Why don't he go find out what they're gonna cost first?
That's what I'm saying. The chief can call a few plumbers in and say, here, what is it gonna cost to put, because look, if we go out right now and we go to the next phase of this project in Chester Heights, let's say the roof comes out fine, things are good, then we have to do the windows, the floor, the outside and all that. We're talking about next March or April starting that work. not between now and next winter. I mean, not the
Well,
winter,
maybe-
winter
maybe-
2018.
Maybe you have to change it around, maybe do the boiler before you do the windows.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but you're, listen, things are bad and they need to be done. And again, if it gets to the point where the system fails and we've got to do an emergency repair, I'm all in favor of that. However, if the system isn't failing,
It is failing.
it's a matter of waiting 6 months. We're going to be in the summer season again, and if it's going to be a significant cost savings to the district to wait, and again, you've just changed the scope from what you proposed initially, so I guess maybe I might be willing to reconsider just these Mitsubishi units, but you started this conversation with replacing the boiler.
I would-
And that is an expensive repair that I think should be coordinated with the larger project.
But you're
And-
not doing the larger project until the winter's over, 2000.
That's absolutely true. But
And
what is the incremental cost gonna be for oil to run that inefficient boiler for one more season versus the additional cost of having somebody come in, do that work, and then having somebody else come in and work around all this new work we've done? It just might make more sense, once the floor is out, the place is gutted, to run duct work, to run piping, to do all that work. That floor's gotta come out entirely. You've been down there, you know that.
Oh, I know it, I got that, but I'm just saying, if you lose that oil burner, and the oil burner's shot, I don't know if you looked at it, it's shot, it's gone. That oil burner is gone, for all
So
practical
it
purposes.
does not work.
It didn't work much last fall, this,
How is the building heated?
by that oil burner, but it broke them numerous times.
But did anybody freeze to death in that building?
Well, no,
Did the
chief,
pipes
Couple
burst?
times they had to leave the building because they had no heat. I think they either went to Bronxville or headquarters because the boiler went out in the middle of the night and they couldn't get, the repair company to come take care of it, It didn't happen every week, but, maybe a couple times over last winter, it broke down in the middle of the night. The guys wake up and it's, 50 degrees in the dormitory, so.
So we don't have a company that's actually contracted with us to,
We don't have a service
Service
agreement with
that.
anybody, no. It's,
that's our first
as
mistake.
needed.
We should be having a service agreement for air conditioning and heating.
we had Chief Grogan, who was a plumber.
Well, that's not enough. No offense to Chief Grogan, but
I was-
that's not enough.
I'm
'cause
only
he's not
joking.
getting out his
I'm
bed as
only
an
joking.
We're spending a lot of time on this, and I think unnecessarily. My only point was, that's a major expense, and before we go ahead with something like that, I think you should review what was already recommended by an engineer that we paid a lot of money to evaluate and make a recommendation, and then decide if it makes sense. That's my
Yeah.
only point.
Yeah, but I would have liked to have the chief go out and give us solicit some price, and we'll get an idea what this would take to move forward with.
He's
I
gonna
don't think,
have to hire an engineer to design a heating system to come in and look at the entire building.
no, I don't know if that's, okay.
All right, you want to just have some Joe's Plumbing and Heating come in and throw a boiler into our
I wouldn't mind having-
1,000 square foot building? You don't want to have somebody evaluate?
I think there's enough qualified people in town who could come in and say, you could fix this way, and then the chief comes back to us and said, I spoke to a number of plumbers, they think this you could do. And it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. We're not committing any dollars. Okay, so, I'm not sure where we're leaving the chief here. Do you want to
Well,
try?
I would like to see, he's saying, let's see what they said in the engineer's report, so maybe.
Brian, we
maybe
talked
that's
about that
part of it.
today. I'll forward you that report. Maybe, you can take a look and see what you think, and then we can kind of,
Sure.
I would certainly say a starting point would be a follow-up conversation with FSI, who's the engineering firm that did the report.
Yep.
And we'll start there.
Okay.
Okay, so I sent out this laundry list of items that I think the board can address. I'm not going to go down them now, but one of them on the list is to buy fire trucks and to upgrade our Motorola system, our phone systems, our radios and phone systems. And I think the way we were doing these committees, where everybody got assigned to a committee, is probably not functioning it's probably never really functioned great. So maybe we just make a list of everybody grabbing some projects and then knocking them out.
Okay.
What do you think, Stu? with
Yeah,
that
I
idea?
mean, like I said earlier, I mean, working on projects with everyone together or in individual task groups, I think is going to be a strong way for us to work better together. I think the committees certainly do kind of isolate one another depending on what their responsibility is. So if there's a way to overlap a lot of the conversation, I think it's the only thing it's gonna do is make these projects happen better with more input, which I think is important.
Yeah, I think that, to me, that would be a good thing to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner Laurie, any comment there?
I'm listening. I find it okay what Stuart said.
That's good. All right, so I'll move on. Let's just go pay the bills, I guess. Okay, so the bills have been circulated, not all that many bills this month. We have one set of vouchers dated July 14th for $16,389.85. Second set of vouchers dated July 17th for $27,232.22, and a credit card bills totaling $283.73 for a total of $43,905.80. So if somebody like to make a motion to pay those bills?
I'll make a motion to pay those bills.
Second.
Second, Mr. Laurie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll pay the bills. Chief, the only thing I did notice on the bills, we bought outside lights. I think maybe we should buy LEDs when we replace lights outside.
Okay. I mean, I'm not buying them, I'm just having the captains as needed. They go
Yeah.
over to Cornell's and, pick up whatever supplies we needed. I mean, we can look for an outside source. and
Cornell's
buy 'em
does
by
have
the
an
case.
excellent selection of LED bulbs
Okay.
outside. They're really good.
I don't even know if they're selling incandescent anymore. I think whatever they get are probably LEDs. I think Cornell's may have switched over to mostly LED bulbs.
Local 916 have any comments? Any public comment?
Just one, getting to the refrigerator. The refrigerator in question is the one that's in the kitchen. It's not used just by the volunteers. 916 has their annual Christmas party up there for the kids. That refrigerator is used then. The Civic Association uses the meeting room. They use the kitchen as well. So it's not just us. Just so that you know, it's in for the kitchen.
Thank you for making that point. That actually,
So.
That clarifies things.
It's not just, the volunteers. As Commissioner Laurie said that on the 28th we did, and Chief Tween, that we did lose Deputy Chief Richie Pintaval. And it's a big loss. He was a member for a little over 31 years, and he was a stand-up guy. I want to thank the chief. I want to thank firefighter Jerry Longo, who was the driver of Engine 29 on the night of the Mamaroneck Parade, and his group that was working, that prepared the apparatus and the utility vehicle for the parade. The apparatus did look amazingly well, and I am happy to present this trophy that was awarded to us from the Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department for the best appearing in-state engine under 10 years old. So it's a fairly new piece of apparatus, and this will go in the chief's office when he's ready. Our carrier's kind of heavy, Chief.
Tommy, we also won one for the band too, right?
Yes, the band did win one, too.
So we came home with 2 trophies there.
Did the fire department have a band?
No, we ordered one and we purchased, we paid it ourselves, the volunteers paid it.
What was the award for the band?
The smallest band,
How many members were there in it?
3.
That's a wise, that's a conservative expenditure right there.
It was for the best life and drum band.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's pipe and drummer. Got it. Okay, any other comments? Any board member comments? All right, well, what that said, are we going to go back into executive session?
yes.
Okay, so we're going to adjourn back to executive session.
Are we going to?
We're closing the meeting in honor of
Yes, we are
Deputy
going to do
Chief
that, yes.
Pintaval.
We're going to, excuse me?
The night shift issue, we're going to wait till the next meeting? Or do
We're going to
we-
wait till the next meeting. So we're going to close tonight's public portion of tonight's meeting in honor of Deputy Chief Richard Pintaval. Oops, sorry to do that. We'll adjourn to executive session.